I wish that I knew how much of a time commitment it was, because I'm still glad that I took the class, and I feel like I grasped the information and the overall feel of the class well, but I have a really busy schedule, and it was really hard to incorporate study time and homework time and reading guide time into my schedule. And I feel like I just known that ahead of time, so I could have planned a little bit better and maybe taken a couple less dance classes than I had taken this year, because it would have been a lot easier to work out homework time.
I wish I knew how much how much the work and learning the material was your responsibility. Obviously you're in high school and we're not in college yet, but you have to realize that this is a college class and that so much of the work is on you and so much of the learning is on you as well.
I wish I knew that I was capable of doing everything, because I came in very not having a lot of faith in myself, so I wish I knew that I was capable enough to tackle everything that Ms. Clemens gave us.
You have to understand before you do any AP class in general is that you're gonna do bad on some tests, especially in the beginning. You gotta get that in your head, and you gotta be okay with it, because you're gonna get your first test or two back and it's gonna be really bad, and you're gonna be like, oh, holy cow, I'm a horrible person. But you're not. You're just gonna get there. It's one step at a time. It's okay. You're gonna get a couple bad grades, and then it's gonna get better. You gotta know that.
I took this class because I knew that taking an AP course would boost my grade, so I knew that my GPA would eventually be higher. I wanted college credit, but more importantly, I wanted to see how a college course would actually be, because I had no clue what I was getting into.
Because for my major, I know I have to take a history, since it's going to be poli-sci, it's going to be history based, so I took it so I didn't have to pay for it in college.
I decided to take APUSH because I knew I could do it, and I wanted to push myself and accomplish something that I know I could handle.
The class was honestly less stressful than the homework part. The class, it's easier to go through the course with other people around you, and Miss Clemens, who's always supporting you, and other people who know the struggle that you're feeling with the workload and all the stuff you have to learn and memorize. But yeah, so it's easier to be in class and to be with Miss Clemens, who will always help you, but at home it's harder when you're by yourself, and you have to balance out when you're going to do the homework and when you're going to review or study.
The class overall was really cool. Ms. Clemens, I think, was a really good teacher. She has a lot of cool ways of teaching where she's just very relatable and understanding, and that kind of helps in her ability to teach people. And the projects, they were fun. I like doing the projects. I like dressing up as Sarah Grimke, and that was a great time.
So it was very fast-paced in the sense that as soon as you handed in a reading guide, you got another one, and in class it would kind of, if you missed a day, they weren't going to go back for you and re-explain something that happened, so you just had to make it up on your own time and find out what you missed on her website or something like that. And the class activities were really fun because a lot of them gave you a really good opportunity to express yourself in other non-conventional ways, because a lot of projects in other classes are make a poster or write an essay, but in this I could make a radio ad or dress up as someone fun, and it was a really good way of learning the material, because the more you studied about this one particular thing because you were really excited about your project, the more you ended up remembering about it later on, and that really helps on all the tests and quizzes and everything.
Class was usually a lot of fun. We got way off topic and had some fun discussions about things that might not have been the present topic, but had something to do with history, so that was fun. And also it was cool, like watching the videos and stuff and playing the games, like the Jefferson coin game.
I like the bond you created with the people that you took the class with, because you get to see how you have to work not just by yourself but with other people to understand the information that you're given and what you need to learn.
If I didn't have Miss Clemens, I don't think I would have like actually made it through the year. So I feel like just like her motivation and like her just helping us throughout the whole year like really just like pushed me to stay in it.
I really enjoyed being able to see U.S. history as a whole instead of like learning it. Like we've been learning it for 9 years, like from 1st to 8th grade, and learning it as a whole was really a good experience for me because you understand why the U.S. is the way it is right now, and things like presidential madness and Harry Truman. It was pretty fun, so yeah.
I really enjoyed learning about the presidents because you learn that they're not perfect. There's a lot of flaws to them, and you learn that the leaders of our country, they face so many challenges. So I think that was just very interesting learning.
I mostly enjoyed like the class activities, and just Miss Clemens in general was just a really supportive teacher, and to me, someone who was really struggling in the beginning of the year, she was like a really good support to me, and she really wanted me to make the right decisions, and she really wanted me to do well. So that's something that like I will always remember from that class.
The way Miss Clemens relates some of the stuff to the students, because it's just kind of like some of the stuff is difficult to think about because some of it happened 200 plus years ago. It's not the same now, but she kind of relates it in a way so that it makes sense in a current setting, if that makes any sense. So yeah, she's really good at relating stuff that happened a long time ago to modern stuff.
It gets better from the beginning. It's going to be hard at first. Do all the work, do it on time, which is very important. Yeah, just like have faith in yourself. You can do it. It's fine.
I would advise them to develop an interest for it, because it wasn't until I started actually liking U.S. history that I actually started remembering things. So it's kind of hard because it does sound very boring, but just try to like find something in U.S. history that you think is maybe funny, and then like ride along with that, and you'll end up remembering more than you think.
I would say just, push through, because after the AP,
Push
push through. Because after the AP, I feel like definitely the days leading up to the AP, I thought I knew, nothing at all. And I think I talked to you guys about this too. I thought I knew nothing, but just push through, do all the work that you need to do. Don't slack off. And, even if you don't think you know anything, you probably know something.
If you're going to take APUSH, you have to try. You can't BS anything, or else you're just gonna fail the AP exam. You have to try, you have to put in work, you have to give an attempt to pay attention in class, you have to try to write an essay. You can't take things lightly.
I feel like just don't procrastinate, because you're just going to rush through it, you're not going to get anything out of it. And also, it's different for everyone, but when you're doing it, when you're doing the note side, do the questions that go along with it, just you're retaining the information and you're not just rushing through the notes and then BSing the questions.
Definitely make a plan of when you're going to do each page of the reading guide and try to get it done as quickly as possible and as well as you can.
Open your pack reading guide, put it on your desk, and have it on a blank open page. So whenever you walk by your desk, go write something in each box. Like there's tiny boxes, so each box, fill in a box, and then keep doing that as you walk by the desk.
I would definitely, what really helped me was when I was using my book to use highlighters, and I would read 1 or 2 pages and highlight the stuff I knew I would definitely want to write down, then go back and write everything down, and then do the analysis questions. You want to make sure you have your own process, because just trying to like do it all at once is not going to work.
Okay, for reading guides, you have to eliminate all distractions, or all possible distractions. So I like put my phone somewhere and I just go to town on a reading guide. If you do that, you can finish it in like 2 hours, and then you won't be stressed.
On the back, usually there's a blank page. I would put every day of the week leading up to when it's due and say like, I'm gonna do pages 1 through 3 on Monday, and then I'm gonna do pages 3 through 4 on Tuesday, and to have a schedule so that you don't slack.
Yeah, I feel like videos really help, and like, what's that guy's name? What's the guy's name with the songs?
Oh, is it Mr. Betts?
Mr. Betts is your friend, and like I feel like just listening to the songs, like, cause like, you connect to it, and like it's easier to remember, and I don't know. I feel like just like videos in general helped me a lot, cause I don't like just like reading notes and writing stuff down and just reading out of a book. I think it's boring, and so I feel like having like all the extra stuff and all the like animations and the music, I feel like it just all really helps.
I did a lot of studying. The review book didn't really work for me, like the one we were supposed to buy. So I did all of the things in the AMSCO, like I did the multiple choice, I outlined the SAQs, and then yeah, I went to the practice exam. That was pretty good. So yeah, I studied a lot.
I used the review book, and I made flashcards, and they both worked pretty well. So.
For me, it was definitely, well, in the beginning, it was obviously like doing the work, and like the reading guides for me actually really helped. But towards the end, maybe when there was like 2 weeks till the AP exam, there was only so much writing I could do. So I just watched a lot of videos. And I think it really helped. Just like hearing other people talk about it, and then like you can connect the concepts.
I was only able to go to 1 or 2 review classes because I sprained my ankle, and all of my physical therapy was right after school on days that she had review classes. So I kind of was forced to find other methods of studying. And 2 things worked for me. One was watching all of the review videos on YouTube I could get my hands on, because just listening to someone state so many facts for so long, like if you do it consistently for a bunch of weeks, it kind of sticks. And when you're on a test, you'll be like, oh, I remember from this video they said that, or something like that. And then also, I found that like making jokes about certain like court cases or acts or amendments, or like play on words using terms, help me remember things. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but if you like make a pun using the name of the court case or something like that, you're more likely to remember it because it sticks out in your brain.
Okay, what I did is that Ms. Clemens gave us this big timeline of all the important events that happened that you need to know for this test. And then next to it, I would write like what happened and go into detail. Because it's good to have the dates memorized with what happened so that you know in order like how U.S. history worked. And that helped a lot.
Took a lot of like practice quizzes and stuff on the internet. So like Khan Academy had some good ones on just all the topics of APUSH. And then we did an exam after school one day, which was really helpful because we got to get a feel for how long each of the sections were. And you know, when we graded it, we kind of figured out what kind of answers would work for the essays and the short response questions. So that was the best for me.
I think the most important thing to know is to make a timeline of all the events that happen so you're not confused on where certain things fit together, especially in the beginning. It kind of jumps around. So just make sure you have a timeline, even if it's just a mental timeline of when everything happened and what time and what was going on in history besides the U.S.
Consult with everyone that you can, with your friends, with the smarter people in your class. Those ones will help you the most, especially with Ms. Clemens. But talking to people will help you in the long run.
My best friend during the review process was Quizlet. I would advocate Quizlet for everyone, for literally anything, because you find like sets for each period, like period 8, period 7, and then there's like Supreme Court cases. Like you can learn the entire curriculum basically from Quizlet.
Don't just study the material, practice the questions, because I know the material front and back, but you need to practice the style of questions and the prompts and stuff, because they're very confusing.
The Regents is still a test. Like I think people forget because they think they're taking APs, like the Regents, like nothing. It's still a test. Honestly, if you're taking the AP and you're doing what you're doing, the Regents should be fine. But like, still treat it like a test because it's a test.
Really easy to just go to like Bank Square or Trax or somewhere and to sit with friends and just get it done, because when you're in like a public environment, there's less room for distraction. So I'll find that when I'm at home and I'm working on a reading guide, it's like, oh, but like my dog is whimpering about something, I have to go see what it is, or I have to check my phone. But if I'm in a public environment, I really have to stay focused because there's nothing else to keep me focused, I guess.
People who know what's going on, when you do your homework, work with people who also have APUSH, who also are doing pre-calc or AP Bio or stuff like that, because then you guys know how to plan it out together. And especially for tests, make sure you have people who know what you're going through so you can study together and study the right thing. Make sure you pay attention because you will regret it.
I would say pay a lot of attention to how certain events in history are connected to each other, because that was kind of really important just for understanding the whole topic of the class in general, just how one event led to another event, 150 years later, and like certain attitudes that might have changed in the United States throughout time, which kind of led to policy changes and stuff like that. So pay attention to how stuff connects to later and earlier things, and you'll get a better understanding of like the U.S. as a whole.
Only take the class if you really want to. If you're only taking it because your parents want you to, or your guidance counselors are telling you to, don't take it, because if you don't have an interest in the topics that you're learning about, you're not going to remember them. So only take it if you want to, not what everybody else wants you to do.
I recommend this to people who are actually wanting and willing to take it. If you feel like if you're taking this class on a limb, don't take it at all, because you will regret that and you will not want to have to be left behind everyone else that's in your class. This is the only real way that you're really going to prepare yourself for college, by taking college courses. And if you feel like if you're struggling too much now, then it'll give you a good idea of what you want to do later on in your life.
Definitely recommend this class. Obviously it's a lot of work and like stress and stuff, but it really helps you like get prepared for college, because in college like you're gonna have to do a lot of work by yourself and learning by yourself, and this class actually does prepare you for it. And especially like since you get to take it in your junior year, it's like really good like preparation, early preparation.
Because you're going to lose sleep, and then when you lose sleep you get grumpy and then don't do work during the day. And you avoid it by planning it out and following the plan. Don't say, oh, I did a page a night, and then just do 7 pages the night before.
I will not learn anything. You're just so focused on getting it done so that you can get the grade that you're not actually focused on, let me like take my time so that I can really like learn it. So what I did to prevent procrastination was like she's saying, just like make a timeline and like know, okay, like by Wednesday I have to have the first like half the reading guide done, and just stick to it. Make a timeline and stick to it.
Because you have to remember the fact that you're not just taking 1 or 2 classes. So procrastinating means that not only will your APUSH work build up, but so will everything else. And then it will come to a point where you either have to give up on sleep or your grades, and if you don't procrastinate, you'll have a healthy balance and everything will be good.
Procrastination is bad, especially in APUSH, because you don't have as much time as you think you do. You always think you're going to have enough time, but you don't, especially with the reading guides and when you're reviewing for the test. Make sure you do everything ahead of time, because you're not going to have time, you're going to be tired, and then you're just going to have a breakdown at the end of it.
Global was easy. It was really easy. Like, Mr. Laderack, Mr. Burns, there is a set sort of organization for it where you can like learn what you have to do in class, and that's exactly what you see on the test. Like, I showed up 30 minutes late to the Regents and I got a 99. It's not that hard. So APUSH doesn't make a lot of sense when you first start doing it, but as you go on, it gets easier and you're able to handle it more.
Number one, the notes were a lot more specific, partly because those classes are more like specific answers, where you know, U.S. history, it's a lot more thinking and analysis on the topics you're talking about. You know, so you're not going to get notes that are telling you, you know, this happened at this year, and this was the outcome. You're going to get this event happened, and here are the 8 things that happened after it, and how these things relate to later topics that you're going to talk about. You know, it's a lot more analysis, whereas Global 1 and Global 2 are much more just, this is the answer of what happened.